more about the plans that Patterson made. What sticks out for many is the randomness, which he chose Jayme as his target. Amanda Quintana explains how rare this type of kidnapping is. Amanda?
Yes, well, most children and teens are abducted by someone they know, a family member or even an acquaintance. But Chief Fitzgerald has said what made this case so difficult was that authorities couldn't find any connection between Patterson and the Closs family.
He saw somebody that fit the picture he had in his head or some other desired quality and decided to act on that.
We now know Jake Patterson didn't even know Jayme Closs's name, but chose her as his target when he saw her get on the school bus.
Stranger abductions, typically they're acting on some thought or fantasy or plan that they've developed in their own head, and not necessarily focused on any one particular victim.
Linnea Burke, a clinical associate professor at UW-Madison, says these stereotypical kidnappings done by a complete stranger are rare, making up less than 1% of missing child cases. Most of these abductors are looking for a type of person. Statistically, that's girls ages 12 to 17. But it might not be an attractiveness or look they're after.
Body language, or does that person appear to be socially isolated or vulnerable in some other way so that they would be a good target.
But what makes someone go through with such an elaborate plan like the one Patterson is accused of carrying out? Burke says it's often the opportunity, possible abuse, poor social skills, and a different way of thinking. But that doesn't mean he has a diagnosable mental health problem.
Whether or not he has a diagnosable condition, that generally doesn't have that much influence on this type of criminal behavior.
As for Jayme, the resilience in victims like her is something being heavily studied by psychologists.
So just because something bad or even overwhelming happens to you doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have long-term trauma or dysfunction or problems.
Burke says for victims of crimes like this who end up developing traumatic symptoms, younger people are often more responsive to therapy, so that can be some good news for someone like Jayme. Again, this kind of crime is rare, so the worry that your child can become a target on their way to school, that is really, really a low chance that that will happen.
All right, Amanda, thank you, and be sure to stay with News 3 as this case continues in court. We'll also have another update from Barron County tonight on News 3 at 10. Gary